It's up. Uh-oh, what's not up?
Chat.
I love hitting buttons. I'm absolutely unprepared for what they're doing.
Unprepared.
Thursday, 23rd. We're making it. We're doing
Coming
it.
to you live from my office.
We are here for your... well, that sounds kind of corny. We got a lot to talk about, though. We got enough to talk about. To keep you tided over to next week.
Next week.
Oh, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Alrighty. Yep. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Good to see you. And yeah, we got some car news, some EV VTOL news for you. And yeah. Oops. Let's see here. Just join the beats of one Harris Heller. Much appreciated. Thank you, Harris.
We're ready to rock.
Roscoe's ready.
We're all ready. All right, gonna call 5 seconds. 4, 3,
Do it.
2. What? Hey, everybody! Welcome to Not Your Average Show. Mike Corey, December 23rd, 2021. Hello, everyone. How are you?
What's up? Doing swell.
What is this? A Brady Bunch episode? Swell? Who? Are we about to go? Are we about to go surfing on the swells?
Are we getting swole? No.
Get swole,
definitely
bro.
not doing that either.
Okay. No, just asking. Yeah. Hi, guys. Welcome. We got a lot for you today. We are going to talk about CityAirbus. They make their jump into the urban air VTOL marketplace, and these are some major players from Airbus. We're going to talk about that. Also going to talk to you today about a unique fan design from a company that's trying to enter the VTOL market, which is Volerian. And then finally, Corey's going to talk to us about the Tesla Autopilot upgrade with emergency vehicle sensing, but there's some caveats there. So it should be pretty interesting. And good afternoon, Corey. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah. Yeah, good. Just while we're working around the house, just trying to get things sorted out, get rid of some old stuff. Actually, I'm going to be painting some furniture. Just doing stuff around here.
Cool. Excellent. Excellent. I just got I got to do a quick cut here. Roscoe's eating his leg. Roscoe's in the studio.
I see that.
He's in the studio, and he's behind me over there, and he's
that's always difficult.
He's eating his own leg. Hey, buddy, if you're hungry, I'll later. Stop eating your own leg. So yeah, we got that going on. So there's stuff to talk about. It's Thursday, obviously no show tomorrow, but again, it's kind of weird that our subscribers have kind of said it like we reached 370 and like YouTube keeps adding to, subtracting to, because I think they go through eventually and clear out some bogus accounts. So it's just kind of weird that this week that's happened, but we do appreciate everyone still subscribing out there, and thank you so much for the support. The channel continues to grow. We are happy, and if there's anything else that you guys want us to talk about, let us know in the comments below so we can research some of the subjects for you guys to bring you the up-to-date material that you'd like to hear about. There's that. Yep. Okay. So another video we put out yesterday, actually just filling up some time here. We'd like you to check it out if this is the first time watching or if you're a subscriber. Please take a look. We do have some information we put out yesterday about what the ride is going to be like in some of these urban air VTOL aircraft. And it's actually a little bit more important because it's taken from a first-hand perspective of types of aircraft that exist today to give you different typical type rides at different altitudes and what people should be expecting. So if you got a chance, please take a look at that one. It's one of the ones where we can actually give you a little bit of an insight as to what we think are going to be some of the additional challenges to this. So we'd appreciate that too. Okay. All right. Without further ado, Let's get started. So we didn't go over the order at the top of the show. So what are we doing first? Want to do
Um,
Airbus first?
yeah, let's do that. Why not?
Okay. So this time, what we're gonna do is we're
Do
gonna
it.
go silent for a moment, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow you to take this in. This is directly from the press release that we got from the city, from the actual Airbus Corporation. They allowed everybody to take in this content, download it, do as they would like, and by
Mhm.
doing such, we have the opportunity to give you the content that they have prescribed for the media outlets. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to queue up a nice video for you and give you basically the rundown. If you're not familiar, Airbus is a major player in the helicopter marketplace. They have been for a very long time. These guys were previously Eurocopter. And when I say Eurocopter is a well respected helicopter manufacturer in the industry, there's pretty much, in most people's eyes, two major players, and that would be for the light and medium twins. That would be basically Airbus and Bell. MD probably third on that list, but there's a lot of reasons to say that if Airbus turns around and says that they're going to get into the urban air mobility marketplace, I think you should listen because these guys are definitely a company that deserves your attention because there's a lot more that we're going to talk about after the video. But here's what they're basically presenting as their vision of the future of air travel in the urban markets. And without that, here we go. So it's being called the CityAirbus Next Generation. And with that, there are a few other things. Oh, they still have some Airbus logos that were playing there at the end. Okay, so they do have some other things that we could start off with. That this is just some of the specifications because they did release it with specifications, which is great. What they're
Mhm.
basically saying here
Yep.
is this thing's going to have an 80-kilometer range, roughly 50 miles or 43 nautical miles. Also, 120
Yep.
nautical mile or 120 kilometer cruise, which means 75 miles an hour or 65 knots for those who are pilots. And they're saying that basically this is going to be a 65 decibel range when flying over and a 70 decibel range of audible noise when it's actually landing. Okay. Now, one of
Yep.
the other things that needs to be mentioned is Airbus is a major player. And when we look at the vehicle design that they're proposing here, and when I say proposing, the thing that we have to keep in mind is this is a company that has been through many development cycles. They have produced legitimately sold for profit aircraft in the aviation industry. They have the ability to seek both the EASA and FAA certification, and they have the means in which to do lots of studies on how to create, build, and actually make longevity out of parts inside and around aircraft. Okay. Just going to put that out there because the reason why I say that is because you cannot discount this one as being just one of these Joby or Archers or any one of these other ones that has S-packed their way into this marketplace. These guys could and I'll say almost should be able to strong arm a part of the industry. And I hold nothing back when I say that because they can. Okay, that they have the ability to do that. And Corey, what's your 2 cents on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you said, Mike, is perfectly valid, and I think just to reiterate, I mean, again, to keep in mind that this is the They had two demonstrators before. They had the city
Mhm.
Airbus, which was the one. If you, I don't know if you get a picture of it, but it was the one that was just four
Mhm.
rotors, kind of above, and it was one of their first technology demonstrators. So if you look at that, you'll see. If you look it up, if you look up City Airbus, you'll probably get a picture of that one
Right.
first. And then they had the Vahana, which also had eight propellers on that one as well. And again, just in the article, they say, yeah, they learned a lot from those things, and now they're moving on with the CityAirbus NextGen. That's what they're calling it, the next gen or next version of the CityAirbus, and this is the one that they look to seem to want to be bringing to market. And yeah, it does lend itself to exactly to those things, to say they've done technology demonstrators, they've proven on their own that it works in their testing, and now they're looking to actually bring the thing to market. And I mean, it's just what you said before too. I mean, this is Airbus. They've built plenty of aircraft, helicopters. They're in civilian, they're in defense, they're all over the place, right? So this is not a small company. If you're into aviation at all, you know the name
Right.
Airbus. And so for them to be, and we knew if you looked up eVTOLs, you knew Airbus was doing stuff, and they were doing testing in these previous versions. But now, this press release just from, I think, 2 days ago, yeah, this is what they're going to be moving to market, and yeah, it's something to keep an eye
Right.
on. I just, for my own 2 cents, on my own 2 cents, we still can see that there are 8 exposed rotor
Right.
systems, that are out there in the airflow, on the tips of the vehicle itself. So they're not enclosed, they're not shrouded, they're not ducted fans or anything. So it's just interesting to see that it's kind of they're going with the same kind of design they had with like the
Right.
Vahana, like exposed
Right. Right.
rotors. But also noteworthy to say that they're not shrouded like they were with the CityAirbus version 1. I'll call it for
And it looked
now.
like the CityAirbus. The
So
CityAirbus had top and bottom. It looked like inside those nacelles, they had one on the top and one on the bottom from what it looked
yeah,
like, right?
yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think
So
that's
I
right.
think that was one of the
I
things.
could be wrong about that. Yeah, but I think that's right. So that is interesting. I mean, and as we learn more about this, is pretty new. We'll look to see, um, if we can maybe get some more information on how it works aerodynamically, as far as why they maybe went without the
I don't
shrouds.
know.
I'm trying to
I've
see
got
as
a picture of
well
this.
the tips of the
I've got a
blades.
picture of the prototype that they flew, and again,
Okay, yeah,
and I
yeah.
think between the combination of the two, they had 242 flights and what was it, 1,000 kilometers of actual time on the
Oh yes,
odometers, right?
yeah. I don't know if you mentioned that, but yeah, between the two demonstrators, they've said they've had 1,000 kilometers of
Yeah,
testing
that's
over
huge.
those two devices, or two
Right,
vehicles, encompassing 242
right.
flights. Again, flights of whatever length of time, but nevertheless 1,000 kilometers total between those two vehicles. So yeah, and that is significant. I know we've covered this with some other ones. When we cover other VTOLs, we try to mention what kind of testing they've done. And I am sure there are some that have gone that far, but we don't know too many in terms of the public eye, what's been released. So not a lot of
Hmm.
them that we know of that have gone that far. Um, and
I'm interested in
I
one
mean, yeah,
thing. Actually,
it's
two things
what's
that
that?
strike me on this design, and I'll bring. I've got the pictures of it going on in the background, and basically that is that these they say that one of the things that they really enjoy about their design is fact is there's no transition of their propulsion devices from a vertical to a horizontal position, right? And if you look at the design
Yeah,
of this, it actually bodes well for what they're speaking of, because it seems like these two tail mounted on the ends of the V, it looks like those two propellers or rotors, whatever you want to call them at this point, it looks like they're angled to create more thrust in what's going to be probably the forward flight condition. And also, it looks like the two that are just on the backside of the wings have a little bit more of a cant to them, so that they're going to aid in forward propulsion. Now, the fact that this thing isn't going for screaming speeds, it's only going, like we
hmm
said, for a low speed. Now, here's the thing that I will say. Even after yesterday, after we put up a video that says what's the flight dynamic going to be for this style of
right.
aircraft, right? One thing we didn't say is that, at about a 75-mile-an-hour clip, the ride, if it's short and low enough at certain areas, could be, for this particular design, I could see them working around the fact that 75 miles an hour, you might not get jostled around so much. You might be in that sweet spot.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, just yeah, there's so many facets to try to consider. I mean, when we talk about where these aircraft will be flying in terms of like, of course, where they're going to be used, how far they want to go versus, how high would they want to go before they just get to kind of a
Right.
cruise. As you just mentioned before, right? This is about a 43 nautical mile
Hmm.
range. If you just, nautical miles for everybody out there that's interested in nautical miles, and then 65 knot
Hmm.
speed. So we know that's not that fast and not really that
No,
far. But again, as you mentioned, that we could envision they're not going to be, climbing to 8,000 feet to do
no.
these flights. It's going to take too long. So this is going to be intra-city, right, in the same city, kind of one side of the city to the other. I would envision something like that, and that could be where I was thinking, where we're going with that was, since it's in the city, my next thought is, and we still don't have a definitive answer on exactly how this is going to go yet, but airspace wise, where does the FAA want to put
Don't
these
know.
aircraft in the airspace in terms of altitudes? If you're into aviation and flying, there's like certain routes that low level aircraft, maybe helicopter routes, if you know about those, so there's some routes the FAA knows this kind of low level aircraft, where they want to put
Right.
those. Are they going to have routes,
Don't know.
whether they're published or not? Routes
I would
for these kind of
imagine. I would
vehicles.
imagine if they're
Um,
going to
I
be, they
imagine,
would be. But here's the thing. The only last
yeah,
caveat
yeah,
that I would have on this design is that it's got a decent sized wingspan, right? And the
it does. Yeah, it's
only
not
other thing is that
too small.
the blades that are at the edge of the wings are actually still exposed. So you still do have the incident where you could get a blade strike on something depending on where you have your your
Sure.
landing
Yeah,
area together.
then where you
Yeah,
go with it.
depending on where you
Yeah.
go with it.
Uh,
So,
I do wonder, because the cabin, they say it's a 4-passenger cabin, and I could be wrong, but it looks like there might be a seat in the front with 4 behind,
that's what it looks
possibly.
like, yeah.
It's hard to tell. So I'm just trying to get a feel of, what do you think that wingspan is, including tips of the rotors, like
I'm gonna say you're gonna be close to 40
40
feet. Yeah.
feet?
Look, I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's
what I
gonna be
was going to
close to
say.
40
40,
feet,
45
right?
feet.
And but now
Um,
the slow speed characteristics lends itself to this design, and that's what I'm seeing here in their design is that there's more lifting surface with wing shapes to it, so that they're going to take advantage of that lifting surface even at low speeds. So
yeah.
they've designed that
Yep.
into the aircraft, right? Look, here's the thing: out of all the designs that are out there, though, I can guarantee you one thing: these guys have had so much extensive experience in developing aircraft that they do have an upper hand in gathering a lot more data over the time that they have been a functioning company in building aircraft. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, you could go through, computer dynamics. You could go through a lot of simulations, arrive at what aerodynamic flow should, could, would do. But these guys, I'm sure, have put a little bit more time and energy into the investment of, well, what works best. Because some of the things you may not know is that Airbus has been influential in trying to increase the speed of forward flying rotorcraft. They've experimented with pusher pods. They've experimented with lots of other designs out there. So this iteration from them, I'm sure they've gotten here by some pretty hard number crunching. So that's one of the things that, and it's Airbus, so I can't discount them. I couldn't say, hey, these guys may or may not make it. Likelihood is you're going to see this thing fly. And I'm gonna say
Mhm.
you're gonna see it fly probably sooner than most. It's gonna be there.
And I do want to, just mention a few things just for comparison for noise levels. You mentioned earlier they were talking about 65 decibels during
Mhm.
flyover and about 70 decibels during landing. Just some quick comparison to looking these numbers up. 70 decibel level is something like a radio or TV audio when you're like in the same room. Maybe living room music, again, from an audio system where you're in the same room. A vacuum
Mm,
cleaner. I mean, some are more quiet or noisier than other ones. That's about 70
okay,
decibels. 60 decibels, for reference, is like a conversation at the same table in a restaurant, a
not
busy
bad.
office, background music, or air conditioner unit at 100 feet or
Oh,
so.
really?
That's a 60. So we're thinking somewhere, again, they're saying 65 to 70 decibels for these two
Hmm.
flying regimes. So somewhere in there, um, isn't that bad? And I
No, it's
know,
not bad at
we've
all.
talked about Joby and some other ones that are in the 60 decibel range. So they're all fairly quiet. There was a video, that just came out 2 days ago. Joby was saying some flyovers.
Yes, I
Did you see
did.
that one?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
I
know if you
saw that
saw
one.
that one. So yeah, that's a good range. So just if some reference, if anybody's wondering, okay, how quiet are these
Sure.
things?
And
Something
and
like
look,
that.
obviously they've only released a little bit of information. They haven't released how long it takes to charge it. what their strategy is on how they're going to
Yeah.
develop their actual bases and how they're going to implement it. But as a first wet your whistle shot across the bow of anyone in the marketplace right now, this is it looks phenomenal. And again, it's Airbus. So it's not like they haven't launched unsuccessful aircraft before. They've had some that have not been successful in the marketplace, but it's Airbus. They've got the backing. So.
Yep.
All right, folks.
Yep. I do.
Well, go ahead.
I do think as well, just kind of my last thoughts as well, that with 8 rotors on board, they must be very well. I'm sure, obviously, but that goes without saying. They're trying to slow those tip speeds down as much as possible to keep that noise down while still making the same lift. So maybe the rotors are quite pitched.
Yeah.
They're a lot more pitched than maybe something that spins a bit faster. So, but I guess where I'm going with that is, as you mentioned before, it's the same. The rotors are exposed, and it's always something to know where you have people people in and out of these vehicles that are not innately pilots, maybe not innately thinking about their safety.
Right.
So it's just another thing to mitigate out as best as possible when you have passengers that are not familiar with maybe a possible hazardous working condition. I'm sure, again, being electric though, right, when the thing lands and it's like sturdy, I'm sure they'll just spin to a stop and they won't be moving at all when you board, which is another thing just to be aware of too. So
and then I guess the last thing, and then we'll cut to another subject, is what will this thing do in an emergency landing situation, or if there's a system failure, or what the next challenge is for other operators is how does it safely land?
Yep.
But it looks cool.
Yep.
I'm excited for them. I generally say let's see if this one succeeds, but I will go out on a limb and say that in general, I know that this one will probably make some very influential pre-production flights and routes where they will be testing it, and we will probably see that. I would guess within a year to a year and a half. So
I would imagine, yeah. They actually, I'm sorry, one more thing for me. I did have another note. They are saying they're aiming for certification by 2025. So just like you're saying, I would see definitely that something would be flying. Some type of prototype for this would be flying, whether we see it or not. Public at next year.
Absolutely.
Mid to end next year at the latest, because depending on where they certify it, I'm sure they'll try to certify it everywhere. Being Airbus, they're probably going to try to certify it EASA first, but they may go the same route that other companies are going, where they concurrently try to get them certified at the same time, FAA and EASA. So we'll see.
And getting an aircraft certified takes lots of time and hours. So let's keep everybody up to date on this one. This is a great one to watch. Good to see this announcement. Came at the perfect time when all these S-Packs are starting to formulate. Other companies are obviously trying to bring forward their best foot. They're showing their flying demonstrators right now at this point, and Airbus wants to land squarely in that marketplace and make sure that they're still heard. So I would assume that this is Airbus's way of putting a shot across everybody's bow and saying, hey, before you write that big check to the S-Pack, watch out, because we have something here in development, and we're here to be taken serious. So let us know in the comments what you guys think below. Give us a little note. Tell us if we got this one right, wrong, what your expectations are of the Airbus CityAirbus, and what you think of it being possibly the future of eVTOLs and urban air mobility. So thanks for watching, and let us know what you think. Okay, wrapping up that subject and moving on. You, sir, you have the next topic, I believe, and you will be talking to us, I believe, about Mr. Musk's company. Let me just get this queued up. Is that the one
you hear me
wanted?
fine, right? You hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you. Why?
Okay, cool. No, I know we probably cut that out, but I couldn't see you at all for like 20 seconds. Just making sure we're synced up again.
See that? We're all synced
I do.
up.
I see that.
Looking
good.
The great salmon shirt.
Salmon
shirt. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I can take it away with Tesla article. Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. I will cue you up, sir. And you are queued and ready to go.
Cool. Yep. So welcome to the next one. Next one is from Auto Week. This one just says Tesla Autopilot will now detect emergency lights, but only at night. So if you have a Tesla, or you're familiar with electric or any vehicle that kind of drives itself, you may know that, and Teslas in this case as well, they haven't had the best track record, we'll say, for hitting vehicles either in just stopped or emergency vehicles in this case. And you can just quick news search and you'll see some of those. But this in particular article talks about an update to Tesla's Autopilot auto driving capabilities, where they will basically detect emergency vehicles through the lights that they will detect on the lights themselves, and slow the vehicle down automatically as long as they're using the driver assist autopilot system, which I'll elaborate here on a minute. But and that's nice. And I wanted to read quickly just the actual like verbiage from the manual, the notes about it, just to kind of give you a quick rundown. Then I'll dissect it a little bit. So it says, here's a direct quote. So, quote, if Model 3 or Model Y detects lights from an emergency vehicle when using auto steer at night on a high-speed road, the driving speed is automatically reduced and the touchscreen displays a message informing you of the slowdown. A recently updated version of the driver's manual now states exactly these words. So you will now also hear a chime and see a reminder to keep your hands on the steering wheel. When the light detections pass by or cease to appear, autopilot resumes your normal cruising speed, or the set cruising speed. Alternatively, you may tap the accelerator to resume the speed. This end quotes. So picking a few things out of there, I did want to say, so first off, just full disclaimer, I have a Tesla Model 3. I do not have full self-driving, but I do have enhanced autopilot, so lane keeping and keeps distance from the vehicle in front of you and all that. And I do know that I have had it on while passing an emergency vehicle 2 lanes over, because obviously, if you have an emergency vehicle on the side of the road, it's supposed to get over. Right. So I do that, but I haven't had the problem where it didn't slow down, or it did. I haven't had either in mind. So
okay.
just maybe to say, but picking this out as well, I wanted to say it did say some caveats: only at night. And only on a high-speed road. And so I don't know exactly what a high-speed road is. It might just be saying a highway.
Right.
It doesn't say at a high-speed setting. It says a high-speed road. So I'm guessing highways, freeways, but not on maybe just roads that are just rural roads. And then obviously also while autopilot is just on while it's enabled. Right, so it's maybe not going to give you, at least currently in its form, it's not going to give you an alert to say, hey, by the way, we can see an emergency vehicle up there. Do you see it too?
Right.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be doing that. But anyway, and of course, the other thing this article points out is that this update only came after the National Highway Transportation or Traffic Safety Administration was also saying, hey, Tesla, we're investigating some of these crashes. And then Tesla's like, oh, yeah, we're going to implement this. So that's something maybe to mention there too. Sure. And then the other thing too, just for my own thought as well, was it also mentions obviously only at night, and that's probably because Tesla's doing visual systems.
Right.
If you have flashing lights or steady lights, right? So sometimes you'll see maybe police cars on the side of the road, but they're not flashing.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're just telling you construction, maybe get over lane or something. This doesn't seem to indicate that they will or will not be able to do that. I don't know, either way. And then maybe I'll just pass it to you real quick, because I got some other things, other places to go with this, but maybe give it to you and then I'll come back.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
What do you think?
It's pretty apparent to me that Tesla's prize in their entire fleet right now is not the actual vehicle. It's their AI dynamics and what they're using for their on-road going, basically robot driving system, right? Ironically, one of the first comments that was in the bottom of this this article, which I thought was kind of interesting, basically said, let me just bring it up here. One of them was no such thing as driving cars, right? And it's not a self-driving human driver. Somehow it's totally focused the vehicles, overcome limitations, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's a couple things, caveats there, right? So basically what it is that, look, Elon Musk is as much genius in the fact that he sold you a road-going robot as he did a vehicle, right? And without that, the AI systems and the way that they speak to each other, he's basically building a neural net of self-driving cars, right? One that could be applied.
Oh yeah.
One that could be applied to his robots. That's one of the things that we haven't really talked about on the show. But this robot and his AI technology literally is growing the bottom of the other part of his realization of the future, right? Which is some sort of autonomous system to aid human beings in moving things around and making life easier in general, and figuring out better theoretical ways to move things, anything at this point. Because once this database and collection of database information grows to a certain point, it's almost game over for his AI technology, which means the visual systems that he created and the short sightings that they do have, meaning that they can only see these lights at night. I believe this is probably just the first step in a learning algorithm so that they could probably learn them at night, then be able to somehow, you know, readjust that vision ability to daytime. And this is just the first phase of learning for the AI. That's my
Oh
thoughts,
yeah,
right? So
yeah. For this implementation of that function,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So they've got the opportunity to make everything work seamlessly towards the future. It plays in line with what Tesla does, which is incremental steps in their self-driving ability, basically giving the user, the end user, the opportunity to get accustomed to the new system, so on and so forth. And then, from a top-down philosophy, they blanket the rest of the cars with the same approach and ability.
Yep.
So that's what I think they're doing here. Again, Tesla's a very reactive company in some cases where things are brought to light and they do actually react. So it's a good thing to hear that they, the NTSB said, "Hey, we're investigating," and before they almost preemptively moved forward, they got themselves ahead of the curve. So
Right.
there,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Just tagging on a bit extra information as I was looking through this article, it mentioned something. Well, it mentioned talking about vehicle to vehicle communications, and I did want to mention kind of the segue there is, in this case, Tesla is using visual cameras, which you guys know their autopilot's all visually based. Used to have radar and things, but now they're just going pure visual. And as you mentioned, a very extensive neural net and as that neural net learns. And there's actually some really good videos on all of the nuts and bolts of really how that system works. Quite fascinating. I found that quite interesting. But their neural net is always evolving and always getting better, and that's half the reason they needed new computers on board their cars when they didn't say they needed them at first, and we all had to get an upgrade. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But going along to segue to the next part was to say there's some other companies doing things that also have to do with emergency vehicles, and so I just wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit on that. So, if you're familiar with the company called Stellantis, and if you're not, that's fine too. A quick rundown. That's the big company that was merged from French automaker PSA and Italian automaker Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Basically, that was in the spring of this year, and that their brands now include Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Ram, Citroen, Opel, Peugeot, Vauxhall, a whole bunch of them. But they are doing. There's another link down there. If you find that out, look down there. It says Stellantis testing 2 new vehicle to everything tech. So this one is basically Jeep is sending out 2 of their new Wrangler 4xe SUVs out in the wild. This is in America too, so that's interesting. To test some new technology for this kind of thing. So basically, what they're doing is they're testing two new tech for this. The first utilizes cameras that they've already put at certain intersections, which will give information to these vehicles and drivers about potential safety hazards on the road in their area. And the second will give in-vehicle alerts to those drivers if emergency vehicles are nearby. And that's kind of where I wanted to kind of point this out too. So these are using, in a way, cameras and also some 5G, some cellular wireless technology, so that if you're in the area, they will tell you if the emergency vehicle is nearby, stopped ahead of you, on the road where you're going, coming up behind you, whatever it might be. And actually, it's just to say that this technology actually isn't that dissimilar from something Audi's already working on to tell drivers about traffic lights and upcoming school zones, which is cool. So it's something that you may have heard, like vehicle to vehicle communications, because Tesla's mentioned that stuff before too, which they currently don't do. But that would be something interesting if Tesla does pursue something like that, or Stellantis or somebody else. But that eventually vehicles could say, "Hey, there's a crash up around the corner. Slow down now. If you're going 70 or whatever, you need to slow down now. There's a crash around the corner." Right. And I know maybe in the comments you guys will say, well, if your car's talking to each other, then there's a problem with privacy. I'm not discounting that. I totally get that. Let us know in the comments. Hey, if your car's talking to other cars,
is that really an invasion of privacy?
Does that make you uncomfortable?
Okay, wait a second.
I've seen comments about that, and you can speculate, dude. But I've seen comments about it already.
It's not about speculation, right? So You remember, OnStar was one of these companies that basically was putting modems in GM vehicles, about 7, 8, 10 years ago, and basically giving you connectivity where you hit a button and say OnStar, blah blah blah. I need help, and
Sure,
they go, okay,
sure.
I'm getting your location from your vehicle. Even beyond
Yeah,
that,
but
well,
this is like always
yeah,
active.
hold on a second. I'm going somewhere with this, right? The other one is
Sure,
we
sure.
recently talked about companies that are actually using, and I think it was GM and I think it was Cadillac was going to implement this GPS location device that was actually going to make your headlights change direction automatically because it could see the terrain ahead of you based on GPS conditions and how the road actually flowed, right? And it was going to move your headlights for you. And look, can we get over the fact that everything that's going to be done for the sake of communications is bad? Because airplanes already communicate to each other using ADS-B and other sophisticated technologies through integration and other ground-based units that are also controlled by ATC. There's other devices out there like your pocket. You constantly have a GPS in your pocket already, whether you like it or not, whether you
Hmm.
think it's tracking you or not. Okay, I guarantee you cell phone towers are trilateralating your position, your position, figuring out where you are to make sure which one and which cell tower you should be using at that particular time. So that's
Hmm.
already happening. It's in your pocket, right? So let's not get all
Hmm.
busted out of shape here because suddenly your car is going to talk to another car because unless it shares pertinent information like your credit card numbers and it saves your life, I think you have a pretty bogus argument. Or am I being too
What do you guys
or
think in
am
the
I being
comments? Let us
or am I
know.
being too mean?
Let us
Yeah,
know in the
let us know.
comments what you
Eh,
think. I mean, this is part of the show. We bring stuff up and let you guys know what's going on, and you guys say, "Hey, I don't like that," or "I do,"
there you go.
yeah,
That's
or
my
whatever.
thoughts. But different
So
approaches,
yeah, yeah.
different approaches to the same problem. I think anything that improves safety is good as long as it doesn't become intrusive to the driver or become to the point where the
Mhm.
driver becomes lackadaisical and doesn't pay attention to his situational awareness, and that causes us more potential problems on the road where people's skill
Yep.
as they've seen in aircraft, their skill will diminish because they basically forget how to drive the car in a particular situation, and hence and end up on the wrong side of a of an incident or an accident.
Funny enough, you said automation. That's actually the last comment I was going to make about this is uh, if there's the idea, of course, that cars talking to each other, and then coupled with automation, where the cars actually drive themselves. Whenever we get to level 4 or level
Hmm.
5, that could ease flow control on busy streets, congested streets, right? Because let's take a highway where there's a lane merging onto the highway, and then there's always, not always, right, but there's sometimes congestion of people just
Right.
merging off the highway or on the highway, and it's annoying, right? You're in the far left lane or the middle lane, and there's a merge. There's people getting on, and because they got to merge, there's just like slow down because people are trying to figure out how to merge, and it inevitably just causes a
Right.
congestion. If all the cars talk to each other, they could say, "Hey, I need to merge." Your car slows down a little bit. The car behind that one already slows down a little bit. Not much, just
It's
right,
called
because
the
it all
zipper.
adds up, right? If you all slow down 2 miles
It's
per
called the
hour,
zipper.
now there's enough space
Yeah.
to get in, and the you don't even have to slow down
Well,
hardly at all. Or if there's open space on the road, they all can speed up. You all can go faster. I mean, it is fascinating if you look it up. Flow control with automated vehicles where they talk to each other. It is pretty fascinating. Some simulations. So there's some cool stuff. What was the movie with Will Smith and
iRobot.
AI robots that
iRobot.
went crazy?
iRobot.
Remember where they're in
Yeah.
the car in the
Yeah.
tunnel and everything's just super quick and all
Hmm.
seamless? That's
Well,
that's how
so
it would go. I mean,
here's the other
think
part of
think
that though.
about this: how efficient it could be if you don't have to stop at a
What?
stoplight.
How about this?
You go through an intersection and the cars they just weave in and out of each other and
Okay,
seamlessly. That's like
that I
amazing.
don't think
So
is going to happen anytime soon because of insurance purposes. But
I didn't say it
here's
would.
the other part.
I'm just saying it's
Here's the other
possible.
part though. Here's the other one, right? Because you brought up a good point. How about every time that idiot gets too close to somebody else on a highway on an open stretch of road, there's a little bit of traffic, somebody slows down, and then an hour later you have literally a traffic jam in that area because it's proven that that little slowdown started a chain reaction with all the other cars in the road. As more cars came, they all had to slow down at that principal spot because of traffic, and then it actually causes a traffic backup in that area. To avoid that, I don't see a problem with it. Yeah, rerouting,
Rerouting.
right? So it could be cool.
They wouldn't route you there if it slowed down that
True,
much.
but you got us way out. We're like, whoa, okay. Hey, folks, tell them what they can do because we got to get in the last one.
So I know we went a few different
We
directions with
did.
this one. All interesting stuff. Let us know what you think in the comments below about automated vehicles talking to each other. is it spying on you or
Hmm.
not? And then of course, uh, yeah. So yeah, we appreciate all the help. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the button down there and the bell. Let us know. It'll tell you when we're live, and you can participate in the live
Right?
show too. And thanks for all the support.
Maybe
Well, yeah,
maybe we need
moving on.
some AI advisors on this show to keep us on track too. So basically, it says, "Hey, you guys have gone way off course. We need to redirect you back to where you originally started."
It's a
It is. It's a
discussion.
discussion.
Some people we've had comments like, "You guys just talk to each other for 20 minutes." Well, yeah, that's
Kind of what
kind
we
of what we
do. We're
do.
waiting for you.
That's kind of like the show. We're talking to each other and bouncing
There you
ideas.
go.
So
That's the way it goes in real time. Okay, folks, we got one last one lined up for you tonight, afternoon, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you're watching this, you're watching it whenever. Whatever. Who cares? All right, this one comes to you from New Atlas. The reason why it got my attention is because basically this company, Volerian, is packing its flapping wing VTOL tech into basically what they're calling a new fan. And it's actually a great looking fan. Kind of reminds me of Lars and Tars from Interstellar. But I guess the technology that they're using here is quite unique. And they've started an Indiegogo for basically their design. Now, what their design entails is something that's a little different in their design, which basically they use two flapping elements inside this box to get this fan to produce their form of basically wind. Okay, it's a fairly simple principle here. You could hear it in operation. It basically flaps these wings inside the box over another surface, which basically multiplies the amount of actual air pressure that this thing puts out and changes the differential there. And by doing such, basically they create a flapping, a wind flapping and excessive amount of breeze. Now, the planned price for this is about $327. That is what if you get onto the Indiegogo, and that's if you jump in there pretty much now. However, here's the caveat. Volerian themselves is actually a much bigger company, okay? Or they're striving to be another big company. So here's their Indiegogo page, and I say to everyone, please, if you're interested in the fan at all, go in and check it out because the creator of this flapping wing propulsion technology, basically right now they're looking at taking this to fund what is going to be their eVTOL version of something in the not too distant future that will basically propel actual aircraft in the future. And it's actually, I really don't know enough about what they're actually proposing to say that it, in all intents and purposes, that it's actually got all the guts and all the, everything there to make it go the distance. But they do have a website up here. They do have their vehicles that they are touting right now. They are trying to make a seagoing, basically in ground effect flying craft that'll be able to transform the way things are flown at speed over the water. Actually, in the capability, and they also say in this Indiegogo video that they're willing to take the money that they make off of this fan to prove the success of their flapping wing propulsion system. It's unique. It's different. I don't know what the overall impact is going to be as far as can it make it into the customer marketplace or will it have the success of, say, a Dyson? But hey, Corey, you took a look at it today. What's your basic take on maybe a new type of propulsion system?
Yeah, it's interesting to take a look at. I would say, well, just like as Mike said as well, if you guys are interested in just looking at different types of tech that or different ideas approaching the way that VTOLs, at least as we're talking about here, VTOLs are powered or propulsed. Have a look at their website. Just take a look around. But also, yeah, do check out the fan if you guys are interested in that. But I do have to caveat there. We're not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. We're just bringing you something new to think about. So we figured we'd put the links down there. But just as I do when I look at stuff, I did want to just also mention that the fan they're saying you can get in with the Indiegogo fan. They're saying it's $327 if you get in now with Indiegogo, and then $436 full retail. A quick look on Dyson's website, just as a quick look around. Also not affiliated with them. It's about $400 for their kind of comparable, basic, not basic, but bare bones model there too, and it's 400. So they're kind of splitting the difference. So yeah, cool. I mean, if you're thinking of getting a Dyson, have a look at one of these and see what you think. might be funding something pretty cool in the future from Volerian as well. So, but nevertheless, the Volerian things, as if you do go check out their website, they do have a bunch of concept vehicles for different uses. Some basically ranging from really slower but really good hover efficiency vehicles to more of a cruise type, longer range vehicle. And then, of course, all the way at the bottom, I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw this too, but they actually have a submarine propulsion concept, which I thought was kind of cool as well. If you guys just take a second and remember that air will act like a fluid, just like water will obviously act like a fluid. So makes sense. So that was interesting. I want to look at more of that maybe as well, but that's kind of cool. So, but anyway, yeah, it's something that I would be interested to learn more about. And see really how noisy it might be and how much air it really puts out. I do have a Dyson. I got it as a gift a number of years ago, so it'd be cool to do a little bit of a comparison in terms of volume of air it moves per amount of energy you put in. You know how much draw. So, but yeah, cool.
Unique. Yeah, I scrolled through as the marine vehicles that you were talking about and the other designs that they've got. And look, everything's got to start somewhere. Like Dyson, started with vacuums, or it might even started before that. I don't know my full research on them, but now they're making everything from fans to hair dryers to lots of other different equipment. And I think he's even going to throw his hat into the flying car thing. I think was
yeah, they were trying on regular cars for a while, and that didn't work out. But
yeah, it's just a different piece of tech, something that caught our eye, something that's unique because it kind of transforms a marketplace. If this fan actually does sell and successfully backs this company, it gives them one more step to moving forward with a different type of technology. Something that, it's an unknown factor, so who knows? But it's unique enough, and it might just have the ability to do everything it says. They just need some funding. So check them out.
Yep. Yeah.
That's all.
Everybody starts somewhere, so
just like us. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I got for that one, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you think. If it's an interesting enough design, do a little bit more research on your own. See if you think that they could possibly change the way we look at VTOL aircraft, and if there's something to it. It might be interesting enough as it may be. That's all I got.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, same.
All right.
Yeah, some interesting topics today. So, but you guys know the deal. Like, share, subscribe down below. Much appreciated. And remember, hit that bell so when we go live, and we can you can keep up with us.
All right, folks, this is our Friday. It's your Thursday, but thank you for tuning in. We're going to be doing the same thing we do with this episode. We'll make the little episode lists or the clips and whatnot. We'll distribute them, and thanks for your participation, your support, and we look forward to talking to you guys real soon.
Yep.
Have a good one. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Peace.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye. Show 79 in the books.
Bye.
So cool.
Oh yeah, some cool stuff.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a good one. Peace.